Welcome to the Tranquility du Jour Daybook video. My name is Kimberly, and I am delighted to be joined here today with the lovely Carol.
Thank you, Kimberly.
And we just wanted to show you a sneak peek into our daybooks, see the various ways in which we've been playing with them over the past couple of weeks, and to give you some tips on how to use the system as a whole. And so Carol will chime in, show off her fabulous book, and then, of course, the lovely Louie the Pug is here, too, wearing beautiful pearls made by Carol. So let me just start by telling you a tiny bit about the book. So this is the Tranquility du Jour Daybook. So one of the things I wanted to start by showing was these darling tabs. So these tabs, they're actually Martha Stewart, put out by Avery, and I use them for the months, and then I also have one for the checklists. And then, Carol, what did you end up doing?
I also use them for the months, and I included one tab in the back for 2014.
Ah, so you have a year ahead. Yeah. And you just cut that out of something else and taped it in.
Yep, from an old calendar. And
perfect.
Yep, have the year ahead and staggered the tabs so I can see the year.
Yeah. Yeah. And you did a ballpoint pen. I used a Sharpie. And they don't smear at all. They're really great. So these are great little tabs. And they came in the Ephemera packet. They were in this. And yeah, so in addition to the tabs, what I wanted to show was kind of the whole system around this book. So some of you are familiar with Tranquilology. It was an e-course that I put out last year. And throughout the e-course, I came up with kind of like a weekly planner where you really focused on your MITs, your most important tasks, daily checklists, weekly checklists, and monthly checklists. So I enhanced those, even added some, and then that's what you'll find at the beginning. Let me go to my checklist tab. And so it starts here with our monthly checklist. So monthly checklist, these are the things we want to be doing every month. The idea is to really evoke tranquility in our everyday, and these are the tools which are fully outlined at the front. So we start with monthly checklist. Here are the monthly tranquility tips. So for example, at the very beginning of every monthly tranquility tip, number 1 is craft the month's dreams. And do you want to show your month layout? And then you can see how there's a space for crafting your month's dreams right in front.
Oh, you want January?
Yeah.
Oh, here. My January spread.
Yes, beautiful. So she has started to craft her month's dreams. So she would be able to check that off for January. Yeah, beautiful. And then we get into weekly checklists. And this is some things we want to do every week. It doesn't have to be on any particular day. Planning your week's MITs, that I recommend we do on a Sunday night. However, whenever feels best. Soak in the tub is actually great to do daily. Taking a digital day off. My plan is for it to be Sunday in the new year. Clearing clutter, penning a love note, buying or picking fresh flowers. We have peonies here today, which is a total treat. Taking an artist date, which is based on the fabulous work of Julia Cameron, who we got to see in New York last month.
Right.
Or this month. Yeah. And yeah, so an artist date. Do you want to speak a little bit about an artist date and what that looks like?
An artist date is 1 hour out of your week carved where it's time devoted exclusively to yourself. An opportunity to go to a museum, to bookstore browse, to do something solitary as a way to refill the well with inspiration.
Yeah.
You know, the looking in a drugstore. I mean, there's so many ways. Going for a walk, you know, in a park, a local park. But the idea of doing it alone and really listening and being in touch with that silence and being aware of what's around you, you know, taking in.
Yeah.
It's really, really great.
It is so great. It's such an important piece of the work. And savor a green juice. That ideally is a daily, but I put it weekly because I didn't want to overwhelm people. So then we get into the daily checklist. And this, you have a daily checklist for every month, and it's laid out, number 1 through 31. And if you go back to the front where we have the Tranquility tools, on page 10 are your 8 daily Tranquility tools. Mm-hmm. So you have your morning routine, daily dress up, which I just did a blog post on this. Number 3, mindful movement. So initially in Tranquilology, I had yoga and meditation, which are so important, but for some people it's running or jogging or biking or dancing. Eat your veggies, of course. Number 5, journal. Number 6, goal review. So just making sure that every single day you're moving toward what you had set out for the beginning of the year, what you wanted to see unfold. Gratitude. So studies definitely show that people are more grateful, are happier. And then your evening routine. And this is where I'm all about soaking in the tub, reading in bed for 30 minutes, and shutting down the smartphone. So those are your 8 daily Tranquility tools. And you have a checklist so that January 1st, I will go through and then hopefully check off everything. That's kind of my goal as I was writing my goals for 2013, is to get all my checklists. Because there's something satisfying about checking the box. Yeah, so that is kind of the system as a whole. And then, of course, we get into, here's our month at a glance. Okay, so she had decorated hers, which was super cute. And, putting in a page and then writing over it. And so I just kind of got started with mine. And so every month, put in kind of what are the big things that you want to see unfold for you that month. Then I used my paperclip with this is vintage ribbon from New York City, tied around the paper clips. So that is to help me find January. And then we get into our week. So here's our week. Let me show you my upcoming week. So I've just started filling it in. And so at the top, this is where you put the places you need to be. This is where work would fall in, or getting kids to soccer appointments, or teaching a yoga class, things that are necessities, things that are obligated time constraints. Then we get into our to-dos, and then we get into our projects. So you'll see that once this gets filled in, there'll be lots of goodies in here to help keep us organized for the week. And then also we have little inspirational quotes. And then here is where you can write your most important tasks. So the things that you really want to make sure you get done that week.
So is that something that you usually do on Sundays when you look forward to the week?
Yep, Sunday night. And what's funny is I just read, there's this great ebook. It just came out actually today. And it's by the woman who wrote 168 Hours. And it's what most successful people do on the weekends.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know, you can download it for just a few dollars. Because, she did the one before breakfast this summer.
Right.
And one of the things that she said is that, it's really important because a lot of people get Sunday night blues, right? Because you're about to return to work on Monday morning. Yeah, and so the big thing with that was to plan on Sunday night so that Monday morning you don't kind of walk in and let other people or situations or emails determine what your priorities are for the week. So I really like that, and that's actually been my plan. Typically, it's Sunday night. I sit down and I look through and I plan my week ahead.
Great.
And so that's kind of what the MITs are. And then ideally, you should only have 3 to 5 most important tasks. Otherwise, you get a little out of control. You don't list all your to-dos.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about some of the added pieces that are in here.
Okay.
So one thing, and this was Carol's idea, is the Wheel of Life. And you'll see at the bottom on page 190. And you'll see at the bottom, there's to insert the date. Typically, I encourage people to do these seasonally. So you may want to start one now. And it's really interesting to just kind of look and see how happy are you with certain parts of your life. So we have creativity, spirituality, money, self-care, community, relationships, health, and career. And then so if you're not so happy, that would be a 0 right in the center. And then the happier you are, it gets out to a 10. Somebody asked if I've ever seen like a perfectly balanced. Never. I haven't even seen a perfectly balanced like 5 in every area.
Really?
Yeah. So it's like usually it looks kind of like a bat or something. By the time people connect the lines.
What I really like that you've added here is the action steps. So
Oh,
you can really
yeah.
focus on the areas that you'd like to increase.
Right.
When you're feeling out of balance, you're not sure why exactly, and you can go to the wheel and find that area and then come up with some tactics,
Yes.
that you can incorporate into your day, your week, or your month.
Yeah, it's such an important thing because sometimes you could look at this and you'd be like, well, I'm a 3 here, I'm a 2 here, I'm an 8 here. So it's like celebrate where you're
Right.
higher, and then become cognizant of, wow, I never really thought about spirituality or creativity, and see what small steps you could do to increase those.
Right, and self-care is so important. If that area is lacking, to really pay attention because that affects so many other areas too.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, so that's a great point. The action steps is the critical piece.
Right.
Because the first part is kind of reflection and awareness, and then it's like, so what do you do with that?
Right, and you can do it seasonally, like you said, like every 3 months,
Yep.
whenever you start your calendar.
Yeah. And then the next kind of fun piece that was added, say on page 194, and then we also have it at the beginning, 4 pages for inspiration. Have you started doing anything with yours?
Well, I've started to collect images, and what I did was I set aside 1 page per season, and I took out my marker, and I've already identified this one as winter. So winter, spring, summer, fall, and then I'll fill them in, probably along with the Wheel of Life, kind of checking in, and seeing what I want to manifest for the next season.
The next season. Perfect.
How about you?
Yeah, so I just put in something from the anthropology catalog. I always love their images, and then what I plan to do is write over it. And so I'll probably just kind of treat it like an art journal.
Yeah, I'm going to collage.
Yeah,
probably.
collage,
Maybe
totally.
some paint.
Yeah. And then in the back too, we have savvy sources. So these are some of my favorite: work, lifestyle, mindful living, creativity, minimalism, style, and health reads.
Yeah, you're really good about providing savvy sources.
Love
with
savvy
your podcasts
sources.
and on your blog. Yeah, really instructive.
And then the wish list of must-reads, which is so important because, there's always books that you're like, oh, you see it on Amazon or you see it in a bookstore or somebody mentions it and you're like, oh, I want to read it, and you add it.
Yep.
And then in the back and in the front, for those of you who got the ephemera packets, there are the retro library card holders, which I thought were so fun. Show us what's in yours.
So,
creative.
so I filled mine in with some of the Mix and Mingle cards, which are adorable for appointments with friends. Some stickers that also come in the ephemera packet. I've added a piece of wood with some Japanese masking tape on it. So rather than taking the whole spool with me, which I love,
which are kind of thick, yes,
right, I can have just a little piece of it. So.
Yeah.
And,
I love that. That's so great. That's so clever.
That's right. And some stars for good days. And then I stuck some index cards for notes.
Yeah.
Or if I'm, wanting to make a list and translate it into a planner pad later, I can into my day book. But so anyway, that's on the front and the inside back cover. I have placed stamps, some notes to myself, and some note cards so that I can always drop a thank you note or a love note to someone.
So sweet.
In the moment. So, and it's all together with the paper clip that came in the ephemera packet.
Yeah.
If you have, or your own clip or binder clip.
Yeah. Such a great idea. I love that. And, so the idea with these is you can just insert kind of whatever's helpful. Yeah,
like
mine are goals. Yeah. Then, of course, I added a little tea collaged piece on there from a tea magazine that I got as a gift subscription. So these are my goals for various things. So from Tranquility du Jour to personal ones to Tranquil Space, and on the back, Tranquil Space Foundation and Tranquility. So these are like my big goals for 2013. And I just use, these are just little note cards.
Adorable.
Aren't they precious?
Yeah.
And they just slide right in. And then also, you could use, for those of you who got with the ephemera packet, you got the 10 pink cards. You could also write some goals on those. And so what I did instead is I wrote my word of the year, and then I tied it with the baker's twine around. So whenever I open my day book, I will see my reminder for spaciousness.
Really nice.
And I love, with the back I hadn't put anything in yet. So I like your idea with the stamps and whatnot, because right now I'm keeping them in my wallet, and that would be very handy. So, so that's kind of the day book in a nutshell. Let's chat a little bit about the DIY aspect of this and how you can fancy it up in different ways. So from your tabs to the paper clips, to what you put inside the kind of inner pockets, to the inspiration pages where you're adding images, and then where you added one and kind of wrote over it.
Right, the monthly at a glance, and I plan to do that all year, and have something to look back to and measure my progress and accomplishments.
And the different ways you can bind it. So show us yours.
I so wanted to have your daybook, and I love how you've bound it, but I really wanted to have it spiral bound, so I took mine to a FedEx office and had them slice it and put this really durable plastic spiral binding on it so I can lay it flat, and I can fold the page back, and it just seemed to be more workable for me and for the kind of use that I envision. I also wanted to include ribbon for page markers, so I could tie them in the very top of the spine. And I have 2 markers, one for the daily checklists and one for the week spread that we're in. So the current week will be measured with this tab.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I really like it. And I think they come in different colors. You can have red or white or black. And I think there are other kinds of bindings too, not just spiral bound, but this is what I really liked. And they fold the corners back at the very top so everything stays in place.
And how much is that to have
the total for the slicing, hole punching, and assembling was just over $6.
Wow,
so worthwhile, just pennies really through the whole year.
Yeah, so for people who like the spiral, the other thing, if you wanted to be super do-it-yourself with the PDF, you could hole punch it and insert it into a small notebook. They have really cute small, not notebooks, but binders.
Right, like 3-ring binders, smaller or a larger one. You can use the 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and it gives you that extra margin to use for note taking, or whatever. For your art.
Yeah.
You could also use your crocodile.
Right. Yes. For those of you who don't know what a crocodile is, it will poke holes in leather. It will poke holes in license plates.
Really metal.
It's like intense.
So super do-it-yourself.
Super do-it-yourself. But it also works for, small things too. I've used it for cards, holiday cards. And then I'll do my little crocodiling, and then do a little ring, a little kind of
can you use those for grommets too?
You could.
Like for covers?
Yeah. Yeah. So you could really kind of turn this into a complete, unique representation of what you want your year to look like.
And if you cut it, you can rearrange the pages too.
Right.
So if you wanted to have the weekly checklists, or the inspiration pages put in other places in the books, you can really rearrange it, like with the PDF. You can take those pages.
Yeah.
And move them.
Such a good point.
Yeah.
To really do it yourself.
Right.
One other thing is what we found is this could also be a 14-month planner. So, because what I ended up doing, because what we did is, since it's dateless, we put in 5 weeks for every month, because some have much longer. And, some are 31, some are not. And so with that, if you go through and just completely line them up, so for example, here's my February. But as you'll see, we've got January 31st ends on a Thursday, and then I started right into my February 1st on Friday. And so since I have aligned mine up like that, this book actually takes me through February 2014, and it takes me through the 23rd of February. So it's pretty much 8 additional weeks is one way to look at it. Or you could do your way.
Right, and I went with the 52, because what I did was that I have some months that are long, fill the entire 5-week page spread. So January ends on the 31st is a Thursday. Then I have February 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So as the calendar begins with Sunday as the first day, the weekly spread is actually Monday. So I numbered the Mondays and making sure that they lined up with the 4, 11, 18, and 25, whatever that month happens to be for you. So February goes several page spreads till the 28th, and then I've got March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Well, that leaves me with a blank spread because I wanted to have the rest of my March pages fall behind the March tab. Yeah. So I can tape those pages together. I can use those for extra note taking. And enjoy the inspiration or just the spaciousness.
Yeah.
So if you're a super plan ahead like you could really appreciate those extra weeks, I think.
Yeah,
right?
there's 8 additional weeks, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because we put the 5 weeks in between for each month. So, yeah.
Yeah, so either way, I really like it. I really love how the paper feels. It's so smooth and
It
luscious.
is so smooth. Yeah, and one person had asked, what is the best pen to use because theirs was bleeding a little bit. And if you use a pen that's really watery, you'll have that, because one time I used paper like this to write a thank you note, and I was like, oh, it'll be fine. But whenever they got it, it was just a big splash of ink. So yeah, you have to, like, I love these. These are what come in the ephemera packets. These are just the Crayola markers. Love these. Sharpies are really great too. They just smell a little, but I do love Sharpies.
Yeah, but ballpoint pens too, and also I use pencil for my appointment days. I think this is just a big product, and it has an eraser in the cap, and it really works well on the page too. It's really smooth, and then I don't have a lot of cross-offs. One disadvantage is that it's all the same color. Like I noticed you color code your days, right?
Yeah. I just love to use color. Yeah. But there's not really a rhyme or reason, but you could. Like, say you wanted, your personal to-dos to be in purple and your work to-dos in blue or whatever. I mean, a lot of people do get really kind of color-coded and what have you. You can do that. But yeah, I tend to just add splashes of color so that it doesn't feel so blue ballpoint pen. Yeah.
Right. Not that there's anything wrong.
Not that there's anything wrong with blue ballpoint pen. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, can I share another secret of mine is that I did misnumber some of the days. So my secret weapon is this whiteout tape that really works well on the smooth pages. You can't even see that it's there. So it's kind of just a cleaner look. So just another tool.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, and I set out just a few tools. I mean, some is just, collage paper. Of course, just like a plain, beautiful pen. This is a gift from Julia. And, of course, the tape. I've even added tape in various places throughout the book. And I'll continue to add tape as I add layers of paper, of collaging. And, and then, too, like, here's my art journal from 2012. And I just wanted to show this because this is probably what my daybook is going to look like as the year goes on and as I continue to add more and more to it. And I'm Pretty Ribbon. And yeah, just adding ribbon. I mean, I just put the baker's twine here, but you can definitely add ribbon. And as you did with the spiral you created. Yeah, so sweet. And one last thing. Oh, yeah.
I love to keep all the pages together.
Do you know what these are?
Are they headbands?
They're infant headbands from Etsy, handmade, from a woman in upstate New York on Etsy. And I just love these. Yeah, they're infant headbands. I thought they're so sweet.
Yeah, and it holds it all together.
Yep.
So sweet.
Voila. And, just a big thank you, first of all, to Carol, who gave all sorts of great feedback on this and helping with the video.
It's so beautiful. It really is.
So sweet. And putting together, I love what you've created.
And Mary Catherine's artwork.
Gorgeous. So throughout here, local artist Mary Catherine Starr, absolutely beautiful work. Check out her website, marycatherinestarr.com. And then, of course, Christy Jenkins, who did the beautiful kind of layout of it all. And just a big thank you to you for supporting this journey, for particularly people who have joined me for Tranquility this entire year and explored the DIY guide to tranquility, everyday tranquility. And that's what this daybook is all about. So thank you so much. Please send photos. I've been posting them on my blog as you send photos of you working on it. Many people's pets are resting on them or participating in the process. So send the photos along. I'm happy to share. And I just have to showcase little Louie, and he's got a little pearl mala made by the lovely Carol. He's been napping throughout our video. So wishing you a very happy 2013 and a big thank you for being a part of my life and reading the blog and connecting. Have a great year. Namaste.